when your practice is built on a singular person,
right,
and not processes, that's when panic sets in when somebody leaves. We've been misled to believe that dentistry, more specifically the dental business, has to be complicated. Dentistry can be simple, and dentistry should be simple.
Do you ever feel like your practice is just humming? Things are going great in the office. Everything is going well. And then bam.
Bam!
Bam! You lose an assistant. Your hygienist moves away. Your office manager gets pregnant. This happened to us actually not too long ago. And it reminded me of something that I saw that an NFL veteran player coach, Richard Sherman, once said after losing key team players. He said, it just leaves room for the next man up mentality.
You know, I've never thought about it that way, but that sounds great, and I love it. It's truly a healthy mindset, and it really shows leadership qualities. And in dentistry, we've got to build teams or practices that aren't dependent on one-star players. It makes you feel like you're being held hostage. So you've got to build a team that is more systemized than it is dependent on a single person. I see it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. So I think today we want to break that down and talk about what kind of happens when a key team member leaves, or how to build that culture back up and kind of keep things together instead of falling apart.
Love it. Love it.
Well, let's kind of get into it. I mean, for starters, when any team member leaves, I think it's so easy to take it so personal, right? It feels like a breakup. It feels like, something that is just, everything's kind of falling apart.
Yeah, because, one, it is like a breakup. Now, like when people leave, there's sometimes where you choose to have people leave and you see it coming and you want it to, you want it to come kind of.
Yeah.
But then there's that
still hurts though sometimes, personally,
there's
right?
the emotional part of that.
Right.
Absolutely. 100%.
Maybe it's right. It's the right thing professionally, but it still stings a little bit.
But then there's the breakup you didn't see coming. Funny I'm talking about that. But the breakup you don't see coming, right? Because it's not just about the role, that person. It's the rhythm, the momentum, the trust that you have that's been broken in that situation. But the deeper issue in this is when practices are built on people and not processes. And that's where so many dental practices really break down, is like, oh, so-and-so's been here for 20 years and he or she makes it happen. Or this, there's this one person, like that's the glue.
Right.
And really a great business, a great practice, a sustaining practice is not built on the people. It's built on the process. Isn't it? The people are important.
Right. I was just going to say, like, we always talk about the people are your number one, which is still so true, right? But we just want to make sure that we are building a business that even when it's a good breakup, right? Somebody's staying home or they're moving on or they're doing something that you're proud of even. We've had hygienists that have moved on to become trainers and do other things, and team members go to dental school and that kind of thing, that you couldn't be more proud, but you still want your business to be able to run and move forward.
I don't want to lose sight that we're not in the people business, because I always believe that people are number one asset.
Yes.
And a differentiator, but the people should be, I keep talking about the seats on the bus, right? Yeah. And so I don't want to digress from this, but when your practice is built on a singular person,
right,
and not processes, that's when panic sets in, when somebody leaves.
Yeah. And so we kind of just want to shed a little light, as we've seen some people start to lose some key team members in just kind of sheer panic. And so we want to keep it that you have to set that culture and start to move forward. You don't want your team members saying, now what? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? You don't want patients kind of picking up that things are falling apart. And so we just want to keep the momentum and moving forward.
Yeah. Your team starts whispering, like, now what? The patients pick up on it. And so this is a time to lead.
Right.
And this is the time that you got to realize you're not replacing just a role. You're losing momentum, you're losing trust, and you're losing rhythm. And really, it's an opportunity to lead your team, to lead your patients. And honestly, I'll say it's not just an opportunity, it's a must.
Right.
You've got to, instead of avoiding it, you've got to lean into leading.
Right. So you've said it before, T-Bone. You said that the goal is not to replace the person, it's to replace the system that they managed. So can you unpack that?
Yeah. I'm not a big believer in the word system necessarily, but it's processes, but system is the right word in theory, and I use the word the seats on the bus, and every person should plug into a clear system. They should have their own personality. They should have their own, the practice culture with it. But if someone leaves and everything breaks, the problem wasn't the person. It was a lack of the system. To me, that's a leadership and business problem. So, let's a checklist. Let's start with a checklist of how to handle this so that we stop the panic. When somebody key or anybody leaves your practice, what process did they own? In other words, what were they the owner of? Is that process documented? So I'm making something up here, but for example, let's say they were your sedation coordinator and they managed all of the sedation. So the process they owned was getting patients from yes into sedation. Let's just pretend as minute as that. Is that process documented? The process of how do they get clearance from physicians, consents, paperwork, all of those things. Is that documented? And can someone else step in and help with that without reinventing the wheel? So in other words, are you having to start all over? So let's look at that again. What process do they own? Is it documented? And can someone else step in without reinventing the wheel? So that's what you have to look at. And to me, what I take away as we're talking about this is I would look at any key member. Like this is hard for people to do because people say, like I say, oh, Meredith will never leave, right?
Well, that might be true. But what did you say to me the other day? And I said, don't worry, I'm never getting another job. I'll work with you till you're done.
But that to me is the first sense of fear. And so I'll share this with you, right? It's as a good business owner and a leader, you have to assume, you have to go through the exercise of, what if something happened to Meredith? She got sick.
I say this all the time, right? I'm like, so, everything, my password is this. Everything's in my computer.
What process does she own? Right. Is it documented? And could someone else help without reinventing the wheel? And the answer right now is no.
Yeah.
And so that as a key business owner, one of the things I'm looking at for 3D dentists is how do we create a process that someone else, if they needed to, could step in.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, I think we had to learn this the hard way, right? When we had our old insurance coordinator leave, we had zero documentation. I think this is a common one though, right? Because we had zero documentation on our claim follow-up process. We kind of had to reverse engineer it from just through emails and reinvent that wheel, which was so silly because it's a simple process if you just know it. But I think there's so many things in a dental office. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. Ordering supplies, different things like sleep apnea, ordering cases, insurance, all of these things we have one person do.
Yeah.
They're not typical jobs that we need 3 or 4 people to know how to do.
So they're not typical. Yeah, right.
Right? There's something we need one person to do. But training 3 or 4 team members, if you're already training one, would be super valuable.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I think we'll get into that. The best practices don't panic when people leave.
Right.
They get prepared and they start taking the next step because they have documented processes in place.
Right.
They have done some cross training along the way. They have thought about the unlikely or uneventful event that could happen. Like look at our government. I'm not very much not trying to be political, but our government is prepared if something would happen to the president.
Right.
Like the government continues to run.
Yeah.
And I get it. The dental office isn't the president of the United States, but they're prepared, and our businesses, our livelihood should be prepared.
Do you know what my new motto is? I'm going to change it on the app. The show must go on.
The show. That's from The Greatest Showman, right?
No. Well, maybe. Yes, probably. They do say it in there. But Deborah Norville always used to say it, and she just retired after 30 years, and they did a big thing. Do you know who she is on Entertainment Tonight? I love that show. She's like the host. I think I sent
YouTube,
you and Sully this after I had Anna Scott, my first daughter.
Did we respond?
Probably not. She did the show the next day, 9 hours after she had her first daughter. And they said, "What? You don't have to do this. Why are you doing this?" And she said, "The show must go on."
Yeah.
And she's never missed a day since, except for like family vacations and like planned days and stuff. And she's retiring after 30 years. And she introduced the new lady, the new host, and gave her a hug. And she said, "The show must go on." Yeah. And I just thought that was the coolest thing, because that kind of gets us into building the next person up culture. But I think that also goes so well with the replace yourself mentality, right? So if you don't have that replace yourself mentality, you're not sharing what you do, because so many times we get team members who don't want to be replaced because they don't want someone else to do their job, and then they feel like they don't have a job, right? So how do you actually build this? You've done so well, I think, with us with the replace yourself mentality in a lot of ways. So how do you actually build this kind of culture where the team expects it and embraces stepping up, and also embraces sharing? I think people want to be secretive for some reason.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is it starts with intention. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm digressing a little bit.
Yeah.
But one of the things I hear a lot is I'm looking for the perfect person. And I'm like, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Perfection is the antithesis to progress.
Enemy would be a much easier word.
I like antithesis for some reason. But, and the goal is to make progress. And to really answer your question is you work on building a bench.
Yeah.
It's like the
you're
best.
Keeping it with our NFL theme.
I was going to say the best thing I could say. It's like the starting quarterback.
Right.
Like no team in the NFL, no team that wants to win or intends or believes they're going to win doesn't have.
Do you think anyone goes out there and it's like, we're not going to win?
I'm pretty sure the Carolina Panthers do that.
Okay, fair. Keep going.
You build a bench, right?
Yeah.
And so in the NFL, to kind of stick to that, hopefully most of our listeners can understand this.
I don't, but that's okay.
The backups are always getting reps.
Okay, I do get that.
So we have a great backup, let's pretend, right? But they're actually doing something. So I'll give you an example. For example, like one of the things I do consistently is I have Masha as my main assistant.
Yeah.
Isabel is our floater, fantastic assistant.
Associate assistant, main assistant.
But she's kind of in that quarterback role.
Right.
And the beauty is when we have large case days, I flip them in and out.
Right.
Not because they need a break, but because I don't want to be stuck because Masha may be out or Whitney in the past was out. You remember how it used to be if somebody was on vacation, I would just be like, if my assistant's not here, I don't work.
Yeah.
And I don't have
Remember that time I had to work with you for a whole week?
I forget that. I try not to remember that. But
I was so tired.
I try not to let myself be in that position again. Where if my assistant's out, I stop working. So I have a quote unquote backup assistant.
But you're getting them reps.
To get them the reps. And not just, hey, watch, let's step in. Like last week we did 3 arches. And I had Masha assist with one and I had Isabel do the other 2.
Yeah.
And that means technically Isabel was my first assist there.
Yeah.
And so that way she has the reps. She is prepared. So imagine if Isabel, all she ever did was second assist. And then suddenly something happened, and now she had to become the starter.
Yeah.
She's not prepared. She may have watched it,
right?
But there's a difference in watching things and actually getting up there, running the plays, and doing all that. So in a dental practice, that means cross-training and assigning a number 2 for every key role. So if you don't say, if you say to this, I'm thinking of some key procedure I do in my practice. Hey, I'm doing a large cosmetic case. And if the answer is I have to work with this person, you're not prepared to win long term.
Right.
Because something could happen.
Yeah.
They could get into an accident. They could get sick.
They can go on vacation.
God,
I know, right?
They could need lunch.
They could need the L word.
And you let the people practice. Don't wait for someone to quit or get sick before others try the role.
Yeah, I think this also makes a lot of space for growth. Yeah. But I think you have to go about this with coaching and with clarity and being clear that we're not replacing people. We're not replacing you. You're not losing your job. This is building confidence in the team.
Yeah.
I need your team members to be able to step up when you're out so that you can go on vacation, so that you can have a baby, so that our team can all be there for each other. But if we don't do this, then when you're out, we're falling apart. And of course, everybody loves to hear, oh, we need you here. We need you here. But it's not really about that.
I don't like hearing that.
It's we need you to share what you do so that we can support you.
Yeah. So, kind of my truth bomb from this is every role in your practice should have a number 2 in training.
Yeah.
Okay. But to your point that you brought up, that you don't want the team to feel like you're trying to replace them. I think when I'm at my best and really connecting with people, I'm upfront with them that we have a replace yourself mentality in our practice.
Yeah.
Meaning that our goal is for there to be something bigger for you.
Right.
And that means you have to train
Yeah.
and get somebody behind you ready to step into that role, because otherwise you're going to hold yourself back from something greater and better, either in our practice, hopefully in our practice, but if worst case scenario, in someone else's practice.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about like leading through this transition. So say you have your key team member leave. Let's talk communication when somebody leaves, right? So how should the owner show up to the team, present that? Because I'll share kind of after what you think, a way that it's been done or two that, we felt like maybe we could have done things differently.
Yeah. Yeah. First thing is, as the business owner or the leader, if let's say you're an associate in a large group practice or whatever, okay, at the end of the day, you're not the owner, but you're the leader.
Right.
Okay. So if you're the business leader, owner/leader, the first thing is your mentality has to be this is your moment as a leader. Okay. Right. This is where everybody looks to you. If you look panicked, everyone else will be panicked. If you look distraught, everyone else will be more distraught. So you got to go in and it's very short, succinct. Hey, we're sad to lose Meredith, but this is an opportunity for someone else to rise. And then you show them a plan. Uncertainty is what kills morale, culture, and festers in a practice.
Yeah.
We have got to prevent the uncertainty, because that's when people's minds start thinking, and God forbid we let people start thinking.
Yeah. I think we started having like a short little team huddle, we kind of replaced one of our morning meetings with it and just kind of get it out there, right? Yep. Because the last thing you want is the people saying things to each other. We just want to reset that energy and say, here's what it is. This is what it is. So-and-so has moved on, or, whether it's us or them.
It's irrelevant. Right. You don't even say that.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
all irrelevant. Yeah.
We don't make it too super emotional, but we also need to, from what I've heard in the past, is sometimes we move on too quickly. Mm-hmm. Like we don't say anything about it. We just say we're going this way, and we don't address it. And then the other team members feel like, oh, well, that was our key team leader and he doesn't care at all. Yeah. Right. And this wasn't I actually heard this from another practice. It could be in our office too. I actually heard this happen in another practice, and the team members felt like, wow, if he didn't care that she left, he really wouldn't care if I left.
That's why I'd say we're sad to see.
And so that's why you have to address it.
X,
yes.
Right.
And you have to be clear and address it. But then you also, be sad, say it in an emotional way, but this is giving you all a chance to step up. Yeah. So turn it into a light.
Yeah. So, my takeaway is transitions are a leadership moment, not just an HR problem in a practice.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, let's land this plane. What are some takeaways for our listeners?
Don't over personalize turnover. It's normal. In other words, I remember, like, especially
with a bunch of women.
I would be, well, how I read that was, or what I'm saying with this is don't take it too personally.
Yeah. I know that's hard though.
It's,
we spend a lot of time together. We all become super close.
Yeah. Like, what did I do wrong? How wasn't I good enough? At the end of the day, someone leaving, it's about them, not about you. It's their perception. They're not getting something that they need. Right or wrong is irrelevant. It's about them. It's not about you. And so you can't over
Well, sometimes
personalize.
it might be about you.
Again, you can,
Yes.
then.
Yeah.
But even as much as we joke about that, what I really mean here is, even if you're a bad human being, you just need to find other people that are willing to handle bad human beings.
They might also be bad human beings. Maybe that.
Back to seriousness here.
Okay.
Don't over personalize the turnover. It's normal. Okay. I was going through ADP the other day.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to switch from ADP.
Yeah.
And
Which is our payroll system.
And I went and clicked show inactives, and it blew my mind how many people have been on my payroll in 25 years.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Like it's in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
And I have 10 team members right now.
Yeah.
So that means I've been fired by over 100 people in my 25 years. You can't take it personally. It's part of the process. Every role should have a number 2. And that number 2 should be getting reps. They should be practicing.
Yeah.
Document your systems now, not when someone gives notice or when somebody's leaving. Because when somebody's leaving, even if they're gracious enough to give you 1 month, 2 months, they're starting to check out. Okay. Yeah. So document your systems now, like right now, this moment, this episode is done, document your system. And losing someone is a test. Make sure your practice passes the test. I really want you to do this. I want each of you to think, we all have the person that you're dependent on. Pretend they couldn't come to work tomorrow. What would you do? What would happen? And get prepared for that as if that were going to happen. And it will help you build a stronger business.
Yeah. And don't forget that when one person leaves, it just opens the door for someone else to step up, maybe even 2 people.
Yeah. So that's the next person up mindset. And that's how great teams are built. And that's how great businesses are built. And that's what creates sustainable, healthy practices. I've enjoyed having you back on, Meredith.
I know, it's been great.
And so hopefully we have more of Meredith coming on the podcast. And you're not pregnant, correct?
No more. That ship has sailed.
Well, those things aren't 100% perfect.
Well, we're hoping it is this time.
Welcome back. And if we can help you at 3D Dentist, please reach out to our customer service department, our sales department, our billing department, our complaints department.
And security. I want to be security.
PR, HR. That's 7 roles. We have 7,
way more.
We have 7 people here. They're all named Meredith.
Remember that time I answered the phone? Someone said, "Do you guys have another one on the podcast named Meredith?" I was like, "No, that's also me." Yes, hold on. I'll put you on hold and transfer you to her.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Bye.